Wolfenstein 2: The New Colossus was a huge disappointment. It was supposed to be this huge follow-up to the amazing Wolfenstein: The New Order and the severely underrated The Old Blood. Yet it just failed in almost every single department compared to those games. Apart from the gunplay, it was pretty nice in The New Colossus. That's probably the only thing I can really give it. Needless to say, the game was quite mixed on release. Critics loved it, but then again, it's a complete gamble whether or not the game actually deserves the score it gets. IGN gave Prey 2017 a 4 out of 10, I just want to remind you all. The reception for the New Colossus on the player's side, on the other hand, well, it was more on the negative side. Obviously, there were those people out there that absolutely adored the game, which is completely fair. Don't let anyone take away anything from the things you enjoy, especially YouTubers like me, because, like, goddamn, I really didn't like the game. There were moments within it where there was this spark of greatness, something that could have put it above every other Wolfenstein game ever made. But then it would just completely blunder it and flush it all down the toilet with one fucking scene.
Well, the toilet works.
A few months after the release of the New Colossus, Bethesda held a conference at E3 2018. They showed us all this extremely stylish trailer, and it was revealed within it that we'll be playing as BJ's twin daughters in this next Wolfenstein game. At the time, I don't recall anyone being excited for it whatsoever. Then again, it was at the same conference as Doom Eternal. Personally, I was pretty excited for it. It was more Wolfenstein, what can I say? Then after a few months, we got some more information on the game. Supposedly, it was entirely co-op, with both of the twins being playable, and Arcane, the fellas behind Dishonored and Prey, were helping with the level design, making it a bit more open with a variety of different paths you can take in levels. It was pretty out of the ordinary for a Wolfenstein game for sure, but it sounded insanely promising in my opinion, especially considering the fact it was going to be a budget side game, not a mainline one. Which is why they were taking risks and experimenting. Then the game came out. Now, I don't think people liked it very much, which confused me quite a lot at the time because I personally did kind of enjoy it. I'm sorry. On release, I played through the entire game with my good friend Mr. Pungyoung, a fella who also disliked the New Colossus, and we both had a pretty good time for our entire playthrough. Here are some silly screenshots of glitches of our time together. I only had 2 screenshots, that's all I can give you. Me and him played Youngblood at launch, which was 5 years ago now, and since I've been talking about the Wolfenstein reboots on my channel and revisiting those games, I think now's the time to go into Youngblood with a fresh new mindset and see if I still enjoy it, or if I'll join everyone else in despising the game. I fucking hate this game now. I couldn't even finish it again for this video. I don't even know how I never actually saw how bad this shit is. I'm having a literal crisis right now. Everything I know is wrong and fake and isn't real. Okay, I've calmed down now after taking my indiscreet shot of an unknown fluid. So let's talk about Wolfenstein Youngblood and why this is the game that basically killed off the Wolfenstein reboot. I'm not exaggerating when I say they fuck up almost every single aspect of this game with some of the most baffling design choices. They even somehow made the gunplay bad, which is crazy because I mean it's literally the exact same gunplay from the New Colossus, which was the best part of that game. Well, here's the thing. The New Colossus was a linear first-person shooter. Youngblood is a weird-ass RPG hybrid with enemy levels and health bars. You know a game is completely fucked if they add health bars to an established IP for no fucking reason whatsoever. With the level system too, you end up having the general shit that brings down RPGs with guns. Spongy enemies. And Wolfenstein Youngblood, oh boy, some of these enemies are not fun to fight in the slightest because of it. Enemies that would go down fairly quickly in the original games now take significantly longer to kill because they're like 2 levels above you or some shit. I mean, it's accurate, that's how guns worked during the actual war. It's how the nasties won because Hitler's Luger was 5 levels higher than the Hiroshima nuke. There's no other explanation. Somehow, it gets even fucking worse because the enemy's levels scale with you. So all of those perks and health and power upgrades you've been getting, in the end, are absolutely fucking useless, because no matter what, the enemies will always take the exact same amount of time to kill because they're always slightly higher leveled than you. Oh, but it doesn't work the other way around, because there are some enemies that are just significantly higher leveled than you, even though it's just more of the same shit you've already been fighting, so it just doesn't really make any sense. Now, the key to a successful RPG is giving you the sense that you're becoming stronger, overcoming shit that used to be super hard and getting the satisfaction of coming back to that place that was giving you a hard time to begin with and fucking everything up because you're a much higher level. With level scaling, you don't get this effect, and it ultimately makes the RPG elements completely pointless. In fact, why the fuck is this even an RPG to begin with? Why are there skill trees? Why are there levels? This is a Wolfenstein game, not fucking Skyrim. Todd, what are you doing at Machine Games? Stop trying to make Skyrim again. I guess you could argue that you're supposed to be a bit weaker in Youngblood because you aren't playing as BJ, who is probably the most powerful being in that universe. No, you're playing as BJ's twin daughters, who are just awful. I have no other way to describe them, they're just fucking awful. I'm not sure how I managed to tolerate them before when I did kinda like the game, but these two twats are the literal walking definitions of the tonal issues I had with the new Colossus. They took the goofy, unfunny, Marvel-inspired crap from that game and put it into two characters that just fully embrace that shit. Even BJ regrets having them. In the first cutscene, he just has this look of remorse on his face whenever he's around them, and I really don't blame him. I'd be ashamed too. The scene where they're about to take their first kill is the perfect example of this tone. See, it actually kinda starts decently with Sophie, the blonde one, trying to aim a pistol at the nasty down below, looking away from the gun because I mean it's her first time killing someone. I actually kinda like the little exchange between them about the anxiety and fear they're both feeling during this, trying to figure out some sort of plan.
You're so not ready for this. You'll miss the shot. Shut up, I am ready. You should try to get up close. Climb down there. I sneak up from the left, you sneak up from the right. Corner him and kill him. Man, are you crying?
I'm fucking crying. Little nauseous is all.
You gonna flake out on me?
Hell no.
Let's go then, little Miss Blaskowitz.
Then the dark-haired one, Jess, impales the guy and Sophie shoots the fucker's head off and they both start celebrating for some reason. Then they drink juice boxes by the dead body. I don't understand. Their characters just don't make sense. They're the daughters of these two. It makes no sense. Did Anya cheat on BJ with some weird ass TikTok watching cretin or some shit? Oh, this game is killing me. Throughout the entire game, they're constantly insufferable. They don't have any character arcs or anything. It's just constant, annoying, hyperactive dog shit. You constantly have to listen to them talking all the time during gameplay too, repeating the same voice lines over and over again. Luckily, they get drowned out by the high-pass music though, right? Wolfenstein games have always been known for their awesome OSTs by Mick Gordon. What do you mean Mick Gordon didn't compose for this game? What do you mean there's barely a soundtrack? Thankfully, they kept the trend of making nasty parodies of existing songs and made up bands. The new Colossus had Changeover Day, which was a bop. I wonder what Youngblood has. Okay, turn this shit off, fucking hell. Since I didn't finish Youngblood, I won't be doing a story analysis for it, which is probably why you're wondering why this video is nowhere near as long as my other Wolfenstein videos. Maybe though I can bring this all back around because there's one more game in the Reboot series I need to talk about. During the same E3 conference, they decided to announce a brand new VR game. See, before this, Bethesda had dipped their greasy toes into the VR genre, releasing a whopping 3 games. Skyrim VR, which I haven't played, Fallout 4 VR, which doesn't open for me properly, and Doom VFR, which also doesn't open for me properly. So they have a good track record with their VR games. And the obvious next step would be to try making a VR game in the Wolfenstein universe. And that's exactly what they did with Wolfenstein Cyberpilot, which seemed awesome, and guess what? It actually opens for me. I can actually play the game. It's the only Bethesda VR game to work on my PC, so that's at least something. Anyway, do you all remember that Panzerhund section from Wolfenstein 2, which was insanely awesome? Well, imagine that shit in VR. This is gonna be sick. It's nowhere near as fun as I thought, and I don't want to play any more of it. It is just a glorified vehicle section made into a game. Half-Life Alyx came out like a year after this. The entire time you just sat on your fat ass, moving your noodle arms, breaking your bones every 2 seconds. You repaired nasty robots with significantly less depth as the Five Nights at Freddy's repair minigames. I'm not even joking. Then you control the robot you repaired and hacked and kill a few nasties in a level. It just isn't very fun. Yeah, I don't want to play any more of it. There's only so many times I can keep saying these two games suck. After a while, just being constantly negative is incredibly draining and honestly downright demoralizing. I'm sorry for getting super real with you all right now, but I honestly hate that this series of Wolfenstein videos is ending on such a negative note. The original script for this video was titled Wolfenstein Youngblood Isn't As Bad As You Think, because I remembered enjoying the game, and I was hoping nothing would have changed, hoping to end it on a positive note, but no. Listen, again, I really am thankful for all of your support. I wasn't even planning on making this into a series talking about all the games. My original intention was to just make my first ever big video on the New Order because that game meant a lot to me. The same goes for the Old Blood. But like I said, as much as I wish I could end these videos on the Wolfenstein Reboot games in a positive way, I just can't. Trust me, I tried. I even played Cyberpilot as a slight hope that I would enjoy it to make at least one part of this video somewhat positive. But that game was so mind-numbingly gimmicky and boring that I didn't even make it past the second tutorial. Wolfenstein Youngblood was probably the nail in the coffin for the Reboot series, and honestly, me just shitting all over the game would just be beating a dead horse at this point. I want Machine Games to succeed, and it seems like they've just moved on with their next project, which is that huge Indiana Jones game. It looks pretty good, you know, I'm pretty hopeful for that. But hope is a very powerful emotion, and deep down there is a bit of that hope that thinks after the Indiana Jones game, there could be a Wolfenstein 3, and it will be just as good as the New Order and the Old Blood, and I'll be able to end this journey positively. Thank you all so much for sticking around and supporting me rambling about a series of games where you just run around killing nasties. I really hope I'll be able to see you all in the next one.